Hello, everyone, and welcome to another thrilling episode of Forsaken. I, as always, am your bountiful, plentiful, and never wrongdoing God, Chris. With that in mind, we've got a great show for you today, but before we get into all that, first let's introduce our no-good God Killer. God Killer, please introduce yourself.
Hello, everybody. My name is Hamna. I use any and all pronouns, and I am your apparently no good God killer, though I think I do a lot of good. I will be playing Omera today, who uses they/they pronouns, who is our eponymous God killer. And you know what? I will leave it at that. I will pass things back over to you, Chris.
Thank you very much, God Killer. With that in mind, a couple things before we start. In case you missed it, the content warnings for this bad boy today include, as you type !CW in that chat, fantasy violence, gore, blood, familial struggles, drug abuse, severe weather, romance, and references to sexual entanglements, monsters and monstrosities, depictions of experimentation, references to epidemic and diseases, trauma, imperialism, classism, depictions of war, and imprisonment. None of this floats your boat. There was a plethora of wonderful content out there for you to enjoy. Also, if you want to follow me or your lovely God Killer, you could type !cast to find where we all on the internet while it's still alive and kicking. With that,
Are you threatening the internet? Are you?
I am. I'm coming for you.
Chris is coming to destroy the internet.
You're going to see it soon. I'm just going to be on all screens to take it over. Because I'm God. I'm really embracing that complex. But, talking about God complexes, are we ready, God Killer, for another episode?
Yes, we are.
Fantastic. With that in mind, we find ourselves. It is some time after the battle. You find yourself, you're able, with the help of some of the nearby rebels with you, you're able to grab a ship, airship to be specific, and find yourself very much in a smuggler's kind of hidey hole, making your way through the various checkpoints and whatnot. It is semi-late at night, in terms of maybe more it's getting to early morning. And at this point, Omera, I will say, having a hard time sleeping a bit. You know, maybe it's the nerves of coming home. Maybe you're still fatigued and tired from the battle. Or maybe it's Titus and all of what they have done to you, what they will be doing, and what they haven't done yet. But you find yourself walking about the deck. Aiden and Azul are both here. They're downstairs, sleeping. But as we find yourself on the deck, there are a number of workers going about the ship working, wind in your hair, night sky twinkling above. What is going through your mind?
Omera is... Their head is swirling with all of the revelations and information that they have received. But Ray is trying their best to focus those thoughts, to corral them, and to think only about the task ahead. The people of Malay, part of them, some of them, are being held in Liss, and it is going to take some skillful maneuvering, some well-placed words in order to get them back, because Liss is not an easy city to break into. It is, after all, the bastion of the gods in a way. And so, even though Titus's betrayal, what the gods are up to, what Daros in particular is up to, and how any of these things connect, even though all of those thoughts are swimming in Omera's mind, they are fighting against that current and trying to think only about how can we break into Liss? How can we ensure the safety of everybody that's trapped there?
It is a concerning, a very complex problem. Even with your years at the academy, through the classes that you semi-remember of strategy and complex mathematics, something stops you completely in your track. At first, it feels like anxiety. You feel yourself stop, everything around you mutes, and the sound of your heart beating slower than usual echoes in your mind. And you start to feel a slight pain in your chest. So much so that you put your hand around primarily where your embedded crystal is in your skin as you have to take a moment and sit down feeling this pain.
Omera is alarmed by this sudden shooting pain. Do I remember being injured specifically in this spot during the battle?
Maybe. I mean, it's only been a couple days, so maybe. I think because the pain kind of goes, feel it, and kind of goes away, and I think at the top of your head you're thinking maybe a wound that wasn't closed up. Again, they had to do very complex surgery in a sense to take these shrapnel pieces out. You think hopefully they didn't miss one because it could be a piece of shrapnel going to your heart, but it doesn't feel like that. If anything, maybe a stitch opened up or a spasm of the muscle as it's quick and subsides.
Omera, walking above deck, I think is going to go and find like a spot that is relatively secluded on this deck, so that they can be alone and have like some semblance of privacy, and is just going to like look into their shirt to see at the spot on their chest where this pain is. Like, is everything, like, does outwardly, externally look okay?
It looks okay. There's just a slight caveat. You do notice that your skin around the region, something has begun to kind of grow over it. Something that you don't even feel, that it just feels like regular skin. You see parts of your skin are purplish, this sort of purplish corrupted kind of metal. That kind of mesh over. It's a mesh between flesh and metal. It chimes with that sort of same purple glow, syncing up to this light that goes in your crystal. You noticed this before, but it seems to have grown slightly even more around the edge. As you see, it's kind of grown ever so slightly. Not enough to be a concern, but it shows you that something is growing on your skin.
Putting that note in their mind, think Omera makes a point to remind themselves that at some point they might need to take a sample, a biopsy of this material, of this sort of flesh metal material, and learn a little bit more about it. And funnily enough, actually, the resources that we would need to do something like that are at the academy. And so Omera thinks that maybe while we're there, if we have some time to spare, it might be worth trying to figure out what's going on, what this material is.
Something very important to keep to mind. But as you're looking in the mirror, you see coming behind you, materializing, Dawn comes out once more, looking over you and just goes, "Are you okay? I felt the pain too."
I'm not sure, to be honest. I've never seen the flesh do this before, and what concerns me is I didn't even feel it growing, expanding.
Maybe it's power. Maybe it's not harmful. Maybe it's beneficial. Some organisms, from what I can remember, tend to have that sort of beneficial symbiotic relationship. Maybe this is one of these instances.
Maybe. It might be. But if it is, I would like to know that. You know, the not knowing is frightening.
Yes, that is concerning, but I don't want to detract the conversation and your concerns, but if we're on the topic of not knowing, I just wanted to discuss about Aiden. As you see, they're very timid when they talk about it, floating ever so slightly and putting their hand over their head.
Surprise flashes across Omera's face, and they tilt their head ever so slightly to one side. What about Aiden?
I don't trust him.
Did he do something? Say something.
Well, I heard rumors. Why he was kicked, or why he's considered so lowly among the rebels. I just feel that he's only looking out for his interest, not ours.
What interests might those be?
His little revolution.
Well, I don't think that he would quite see it that way. I'm sure if he was here, he would say something about how the revolution is for everyone, not just for him. And that includes us as well.
I just feel that we are getting involved when we don't need to be.
Maybe
we should focus on ourselves.
Maybe we don't need to be, but Dawn, I don't really know if the Empire will allow me to just not be involved in any way. Not after everything that I've done, that I've shown that I have the capacity to do. I mean, with a god killer out there, I don't think they'd ever just let me be.
Well, who says we have to stay here? We could... there are other continents we can go to. We can cross the ocean and find a cure for ourselves. We don't have to stay here and fight. We take our people and we go across an ocean.
That is an option. You're not wrong. I just... Call me sentimental, but I find it so hard to think about just leaving and never seeing home again. It just doesn't sit right with me.
Omera, your home has a giant volcano in it. It's probably a land of ash and ruin. Even if you were to win, what is there to go back to?
That doesn't mean that we can't rebuild. If the gods destroyed it, then certainly there is power to undo that destruction. That volcano wasn't there before. You didn't get to see it, but Ali is beautiful. Water everywhere, lush, verdant forests. It didn't used to look like that.
And what about this emperor? Will you fight them? They seem powerful in nature. How do you intend to kill a god among gods? It seems so impossible and daunting. It just doesn't seem worth it.
I won't lie, I don't exactly have a plan right now, and I'm not sure either. I'm also afraid, but I just don't see how we can go back. I don't see how I can go back. I wish that you were not forced to abide by the decisions that I make. I really and truly do, Dawn, and I promise that I'm looking as much as I can into what is keeping us tethered to each other, so that you too can gain your freedom, but that is exactly why I can't just leave. Because even if I could have my own freedom, what about everyone else?
Sometimes you have to save yourself from a sinking ship before you help others. How do you intend to help people if you don't concern yourself first?
I hope that the person next to me is concerning themselves with me, just as I am concerning myself with them.
You see they timidly nod. Just promise me one thing. I know you already have a lot to keep, but when it comes down to it, if you for some reason have to choose between me and Aiden, promise me you'll choose me. I don't want to go back to the dark where it's endless and a void. I don't want to go back to that.
I won't have to make that decision.
But if you do, promise me.
I don't know if I can choose between lives. It is... All I can promise you is that I will do everything within my power to make sure that you get to choose where you go.
Okay. And you see that they slowly disappear in the wind. Close by, with those words echoing in your ears. As you contemplate on that, the sun begins to rise up. As the night clouds soon dissipate, morning is not disappointing. It is coming. You see that it is shining through. You begin to see clouds which are familiar, clouds you counted from those high towers of the Academy. And slowly but surely, the vestige of that familiar city begins to break through. As clouds begin to part ways, and you see the city itself, which hasn't really been described on a larger scale, is really these floating pieces of larger land that circulate around the main sort of downtown area of the city. You know that this place was once in the ground, but due to some war long ago, it was raised up in the clouds for safety. Just makes sense. For a time, no one could attack the sky, but then, as everything, what was once impossible becomes probable. But it is shining ever so lightly, and you can see people travel from these floating islands from the bright blue bridges of hard light, forming every which way, all constructed by your lovely mentor, Isabella the Usurper. At this moment, you begin to pull into the dock, and as you do, you see Aiden kind of knocks on the door. Mira, are you good?
Yeah, is there anything in particular, and you, Aiden from the other side of the door can hear kind of like shuffling and moving around and like, what sounds like different vials being like lifted and then put back down and things like that. Is there anything that I am going to need? I haven't been back here in so long, and I don't even know what to bring.
Don't look at me. I never set foot in this city. This is more your territory than mine.
But for the task at hand, I've never. And Omera like shuffles to the door, opens it, fully, and Aiden, can see into the room, and there's just like stuff kind of strewn everywhere, as Omera's clearly been like trying to, like figure out what to bring, and has been moving stuff around, and it's just kind of like a little bit of a mess.
You see that it is at first kind of surprised. It's very much just like you see he's got his roguish charms looking on the side. You see he's by the window, arms crossed, chuckling a little bit to himself, and kind of goes, "It's all right. All we need is that pretty little brain of yours."
Okay, you've never met Isabella, and she has high standards. Very high standards. And I haven't seen her in years.
We planning on meeting this god? I thought we were gonna try, sneak around.
I mean, sneak to an extent. This is a very, very, just heavily fortified city, let's say. With the academy being there and everything, it is, I don't think that it's going to be possible to go in undetected entirely.
Well, I think you think very little of me. I do have a friend in the city, and we're gonna go meet them. Hopefully, they can give us a way to do what you say cannot be done, as that is my specialty.
Well, I would be very interested to meet this friend and to see, but just in case, I do think that we should have a plan, a cover story of some kind of why we're here and why we need to be in the area, just on the off chance that we get caught.
I think at this point you see Azul with very much chomping at the bit of a full loaf of bread. Let's go. Or anything. I could be here, I guess. I'm checking in on you or something like that. I still am an Onyx guard. If anything, I could say I was a POW and managed to escape the hands of the evil rebels. As you see, Aiden does not look amused by them teasing.
Not a bad plan, actually. Especially given that you are, work very closely with Nier. I actually think that might be our best shot. If we get caught. And Omera looks at Aiden.
Yeah, sure. Whatever you say. I just think my plan is going to work. As you see, he begins to go get the stuff. You see Azul kind of goes, that boy, I swear, he's got a chip on his shoulder.
He's not so bad once you get to know him.
All right, I'll be waiting by the dock. And you see they kind of go off as well.
And Omera is going to turn around, see the absolute hurricane that has gone through their room, and Ray is going to sigh, go, okay, it's fine. It'll be fine. And is just going to, I think, take some choice herbs and different salves and potions that they've made. Just kind of general use stuff that they think might be useful for this particular espionage mission. Something that Omera has never done before. So Ray's judgment on what is necessary for espionage probably way off, but they're gonna take what Ray thinks is useful.
C4 explosives,
and then close the door and try to find.
I will say, as you close the door, and as the minute you step foot on the streets of the city, getting off the dock, you do hear an echo in your mind, just ever so slightly, as you hear the familiar words of one of your curses. Thou shalt not know true justice. As Bass's voice echoes in the distance.
I can't believe I have to hear that motherfucker. That's concerning. Omera, I think, like, is walking and, like, trying to find Aiden and Azul, but as soon as that voice kind of echoes in Rare head, Ray, like, is stopped, frozen in their tracks. And then when the voice passes, they shake their head, try to put that to the back, ignore it. I'm sure it doesn't mean anything. And they're gonna go look for Aiden and Azul.
Fantastic. The three of you meet up, getting off the ship. You see he tosses over a gold coin for the captain in his troubles. And with it, you proceed to head into the streets of the city. It is almost as you remember it, though. There are a number of new buildings. You can see also, before, the train station was simply something coming out of the exterior of the city, but now, for some way, somehow, Isabella has fully integrated into the city itself. As you see, trains are going from in between. Mostly, you can see they're very much more commercial than personal. So it's more of like cargo ships. As you see, they're kind of going on these wheelies, going through. You do see the familiar vestige of students. You see the uniform has kind of changed ever so slightly. You can see that they're now kind of color-coded a little bit of like reds, blues, yellows. You don't know what it means, but you're guessing maybe tracks and whatnot. And you can see that even though you have studied here, you have been here, in Isabella's true nation and sort of passion for learning, growing, and evolving, the city has done as well. Which is at least maybe a good thing. Which tells that they haven't really changed. They're still the same old mentor you knew before. But just because things look pretty does not mean the intention. So, up in the air. But as you walk through the city, you begin to make your way to a part of the city you really never were familiar with, or intimate to say the least, as you find yourself going into a place called Barren Lane. Now, this place was one of the poorest areas of the city. It is where a lot of these people known as the guildless, or a previous economic class that's kind of been eradicated in the sense of everybody's kind of been lifted up in that sense. But this was a place of a very low economic standard. But coming in, it is a complete revitalization. It is like a community that has been redone and done up. You see there is a loving statue of Isabella in sort of this bronze nature looking out as the sun hits it, glistening in the rain. You see it's well kept. The buildings are very much of that sort of French design of there is art and elegance written into the stone itself with functionality, a lot of what this city is known for. But as you turn the corner, you see kind of heading into sort of one of the nearby sky docks here, what looks like to be a large, almost like a shipyard kind of building. You see that this modest building is about 3 stories tall and lies near one of the main skyports. You see it's made completely out of wood, and it is hustling and bustling on the inside. You see that it has what looks like to be kind of like one of those metal swinging signs, and on it you see it say Blood Tier Company. Whatever this place is, it seems to be some sort of shipping company, something that deals with trading goods to and from. As you go in, it is actually quite bigger on the inside, to your amazement. As you see, the structure, whether it be by magic or some sort of illusion, is quite taller, built more tall-wise. As you see that there are various levels of cargo being switched in and out, taking to various sections, to ships, to places in the city being loaded, and you can see there's a lot of people working overtime at the moment. It seems like you come fully into rush hour. At the moment, Aiden will go off, but yes, as you sort of enter in here.
What kind of like company does this look like it is? Like what does it look like they do?
They seem to be your run-of-the-mill, just more in terms of like they don't necessarily make anything. They are transporter of
Oh,
things. So
okay.
they're very much just like they are the middlemen. They are the ones like you need this to get to where? Got it. Just give me the gold. I'll get that way. They're couriers in a sense, to be honest, more like that. Instead
Okay.
of mail, it's whatever goods. You can see various things from heavy weapons to food to bits and baubles, the latest toys. It's whatever they can get their hands on, they distribute.
Okay. And from when I used to go to Helix Academy, like when I was a student, had I heard about the Blood Tier Company at all at that point, or?
I will say, and I'll add a move to this, you did hear about them a bit. You do know that these bad boys were originally part of one of the guilds, one of those sort of main factions that held the city before Isabella usurped it. Whether you don't know exactly the history behind these places, but you do know Isabella has a great disdain for these people, as the guild masters are one of their few, in the sense of they don't act very godly in a sense when it comes to these people. Real hatred towards them. And I think as you're kind of doing this, getting this answer, I think you're feeling something out here. So I will say, what kind of feels maybe dark or unnerving when you peer deeper is that these people, or whoever they are, were originally part of the guilds, which has a bit of a darker history with that. They weren't exactly the greatest ruling class. And you can see that also among these workers, there's a bit of rough-looking types. Not necessarily like stereotypical of, oh, he looks kind of rough. No, you can see these are they don't look like in the sense of they, deliver packages. You see that they have a bits of scrapes and scars on them. You see that some of them are rough going. You can see that maybe transporting isn't the only business these people deal with. But as I answer that question, what feels welcoming on the surface, Omera?
On the surface, it seems like the people that are running this place, running this guild specifically, seem to be doing something that is useful and beneficial to the community. It seems like they are getting people what they need. And so, at least on the surface, without knowing exactly what it is that other business that they engage with is, and without, having any evidence to even speculate about, I guess, at least for now, Omera is kind of faced with that. Well, they're not really doing anything wrong per se, so kind of like that benefit of the doubt of like maybe there is something maybe not legitimate entirely, but like mostly legitimate happening here.
It's selling a little weed. I mean, it's not too bad. It's not a little bad. It's just, but as you are thinking about it, you see Aiden probably maybe on like the 3rd level, gives you a kind of hand wave to join him upstairs.
I will take like a very quick, just like scan around, just to note if like, I don't know if I see anything kind of like unusual or like signs of like whatever other activity they might go on here. But I'm not gonna like linger, and I will follow Aiden up the stairs.
Yeah, you can see just off the glance, some of this stuff is maybe a bit of contraband. You do notice that as they're sort of cataloging weapons, you see one of them takes one out, puts it in a separate kind of bin, closes it, and very much looks at you like, what are you looking at kind of energy? And you kind of just do just going off, looking about. But you can see that they do a little bit of, oops, it fell off the truck energy here. But taking the elevator up, you find yourself in what looks like to be maybe one of the more administrative parts here, as there's people kind of working, doing clerical tasks of, oh, what's going on here? What do you need? You see there are people here of very rich industrialists to your cousin Joe that wants to send a package. That sort of going about and sort of training of, okay, what do I need to do this and gold? And a lot of business is going on. And you can see there's an office, a main one, that seems very much in the center of this, as sort of glass is there, but much more of like that office blurry glass that you necessarily can't see inside. You see that Aiden, before he goes in, he kind of goes, okay, we're going to talk with the individual here. Their name is Tasa. I just want to warn you, I know how you are. So please keep an open mind
What
when
does
you
that
talk to
mean?
them.
What does that mean?
It's just they deal with a side of a rebellion, which is necessary in a sense. You see Azul go, what do you mean by necessary? It's the gangsters, in a sense. Razor boys, if you want to do that. Razor gang, really, if you want to put a
And that's
formal
necessary?
definition on
Why
it.
is that necessary?
Well, we're going to talk about it. You're going to see. I just need you to be open to hearing and not go off on we're holier than thou kind of stuff and whatnot. I need to put God, priestess Omera needs to go on the side for a second, and I just need, I don't know what normal Omera is, but I need normal Omera in that sense. Or not godly Omera. I know, am I making sense?
You're asking for somebody that doesn't exist, but okay. Sure, I will go in with an open mind and see what the, as you said, gangsters have to offer.
That's all I want. Just open mind. We have an open conversation, including you, Alex Guard, because you got a face that everybody knows. So don't go all paladin on me. You see, I'll try my best.
And Omera, before we kind of step in, just kind of like exchanges a look with Azul, like, this is it, and then we'll walk in behind Aiden.
With that, you enter into this main office. As you do, door opens here. You see what looks like to be a surprising sight. You think someone with this kind of power, with this kind of industry, and being a little bit of a gangster is this tall, imposing, ever so strong individual, and it's not. What you see rather is kind of like this gnomish height figure, maybe 3, maybe 4 feet if you're being kind. You see that they are also bit later in life. You see that even though they can live a lot longer, they have sort of that gray hair of like late middle age, wrinkles around sort of the face. Their eyes are deep sea blue. Their ears curve ever so slightly against their still luscious and beautiful dark brown skin. As you see, they have a number of earrings, gold in nature, and at the moment are wearing this sort of reddish kind of half suit, not suit kind of energy going about it, as they have a blue sash across it as they go, well, it is a pleasure to meet you. Tasa Dumara, at your service.
And Omera will wait for Aiden to introduce himself first before speaking, because they are a little bit out of their depth here. Omera's not used to working with the like seedy underbelly of the city.
I'm scared. With that, you see Aiden go, pleasure to meet you. Aiden Durak, this is Omera, and this is Azul.
It's nice to meet you. And Omera will put out a hand to shake Tasa's.
Very much child hand, adult hand energy as they kind of shake and go, well, are you by chance the God Killer?
It seems that my reputation precedes me. The very same.
I heard a rumor you fought with a squid of a quite large nature, and also managed to best Armand in combat.
Yes, well, the squid really and truly turned out to be just as trapped as we are, and so that wasn't much of a fight in that regard, but Armand, on the other hand, well, he had to be dealt with, as I'm sure you can understand.
Darling, you can speak truthfully here. He was a jackass, and we are all much more gladder that he is 10 feet on the ground. Bravo to you.
Thank you. And Omera's, I think, like a little bit taken aback, like not really expecting this level of like approval for murdering a guy. So it was just like, okay, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Please take a seat. Are you thirsty, hungry? Can I get you anything? I can provide the finest of refreshments. We recently did take a very nice vintage from a dumbass lord.
Just water for me, I think. But Azul and Aiden, you're welcome.
You see Azul kind of go, water please. You see Aiden, finest wine. I do love stealing from the rich. He goes, it's a good man. And you see with a snap of their finger, in a puff of smoke, they all appear, as they do have some sort of magic to themselves. Pulls up. Enjoy. I also have a little platter here of cheeses, if you are so inclined. Now, to business. You have come quite a long way, and to be honest, I shouldn't be talking with rebels. It is heretical, as they say.
Omera like looks I think is like nibbling on some cheese as Tassa's speaking, and in the middle of Tassa's sentence just looks very, very confused and can't help but like quickly swallow down the cheese and say, I thought you were also rebels.
Rebels in our own mind. And what I mean by heretical, it is more sarcastic in a sense. We like to do our business by ourselves. I like to be Isabella's personal pain in the ass. It is what I draw most pleasure from.
And Omera like opens Rare mouth like Ray is gonna say something in response to that, and then remembers what Aiden said about not going off on Tassa, and it's just kind of like sits back, closes their mouth, and stuffs it more full of cheese, because if they don't eat cheese, they will tell Tassa to fuck off. So
But you see Aiden kind of goes, Tassa here is responsible for many of the city's complications in a sense, you see. My pleasure. If there's a riot, union strike, or death or death, in this city we have had a hand in it. We represent the other guilds, as we have fallen so far from grace. But one day we hope to be back on top, where we belong.
And Omera just kind of like nods very politely at this person speaking, very much biting their tongue in terms of their opinions of what is going on here, and then just will, in between bites of cheese, will say, history is all well and good, but maybe we could discuss the matter at hand. It is a bit of a time-sensitive matter.
I heard. Now, to answer a question with a question, what does a group of rebels from the other side of the continent want with Isabella's personal codes? I find it quite strange that you would want such high security clearance. Care to privy me to the details?
Well, if you enjoy being such a pain in the ass of Isabella in particular, then it shouldn't really be that much of an issue for you to help part her from her codes, regardless of the reason.
It is true. You see, Aiden goes, we do need it for a specific purpose, and while we may have a way to get in a sense, we need a way to get there first. We thought with your connections and you knowing people, we could work out a deal, in a sense. You help us, we help you. You see that Tassa kind of looks to the side, takes a swig of wine. Wine, I love. It is with wine that one's patience is rewarded. Wait long enough and it becomes sweet. savory, and worth the price tag. I believe I found myself quite the vintage here. You need my help, and I also need a help as well. So I believe we can come to a deal of sorts.
What help exactly do you need from us?
Well, there is this lovely little device, if you're familiar with it, known as a tentacore. And in your mind, without having to roll anything, you know what this is. This is the beating heartbeat of all technology within the Empire. The thing is, these cores are an incredibly well-kept secret. They're patented by Tennyson Products and are really only kept within the Academy under Isabella's, sanction or sort of supervision. Because if this was to get out, someone could easily replicate it and make their own. Government doesn't want a bunch of powerful cores out there. So what they're asking is not necessarily not hard to steal if you would get in there, but the long-term consequences of a group of people like this having it could mean a lot. Because a tentacore is simple device, if you're familiar with, and we would love to acquire one to make our own new line of product. I simply hate monopolies, and capitalism is such a rough competition. I would like to get even with the so-called Archon of Storms and Entropy. Make some of my own entropy.
What exactly do you plan on doing with these tentacores? I think that is an important consideration.
Maybe I might use it to make a large bomb, as you say that kind of spook you in a sentence. Or simply I wish to mass produce it. Produce my own line of Salva's cores. Cheaper, more affordable, and maybe more powerful if I get the right folks. Or kidnap the right scientist.
Well, I mean, we certainly can't have more bombs out there in the town or in the continent as a whole. And Omera looks at Aiden like, these are the people you want to work with?
This is a joke. Not gonna make an actual bomb.
Well, we don't know that. What if they do?
They're not gonna make a bomb. Are you kidding me?
You don't know that.
I don't have to be an academic to know that if you're gonna make a bomb, you gotta use something. And you see stuff was kind of. It was a joke. A joke. We're joking. We're having wine. We're having cheese. You can't joke, little god killer. Is that something that was taken from you when you kill a god? Is it exchange?
And Omera laughs this mirthless, very fake laugh, just like, right, a joke. No, I just get very, it's not really important. I guess what's important is to ask you, can you guarantee that the tentacore, if we were to provide it to you, would not be misappropriated?
Well, you're filling someone or something out in this instance, so I'll give you the initiative here. What would you like to answer? And I will answer the other.
I will answer what feels welcoming on the surface. What feels welcoming on the surface here is that Tassa does have somewhat of a valid argument in this case, in the sense that the Empire having this monopoly, as she called it, or as they called it, on the tentacores is a problem if the Empire, as it turns out, is using the technology that they have to commit violence against its people. For example, what happened in Mali, if things like that on a larger scale. And so I think what feels welcoming on the surface is this sort of promise of this potential idea where if the Empire was not the only people like to have the Tentacore, that there would be perhaps evening the playing field a little bit, giving more power to people to be able to fight back, so it wouldn't be so easy to just squash entire towns the way that Mali was razed to the ground.
It is comforting, and what kind of feels darker or unnerving as you peer deeper is that as you have to reiterate yourself, these are gangsters. While their intentions, they don't really care about good or bad. Especially from what you're kind of gathering here, they're part of they were once part of the Merchant Guild, a society part of that faction that was very much focused on profit. Giving them a Tentacore could be the equivalent of making these guys arm dealers in a sense. Because Tentacores can be used for a lot of things, but the most profitable are weapons. Don't have to be bombs, but a gun can be just as dangerous. As you get that in your head, in your mind, the conversation kind of goes, we are simply trying to make it even. Make a level playing field to make things equal. Equality and fraternity. Things we, the rebels, believe in. Plus, if Aiden wants me to come on this meeting of his that he's arranging, this would be part of the deal.
And Omera looks over at Aiden. Do you trust them?
I trust that they have such a deep hatred of the Empire that we don't have to worry about them stabbing us in the back. Greed is good sometimes.
And Omera will look back at Tassa and really look at them, kind of taking them in. Okay.
Shake on it. As you see, again, childlike size, especially with Vera being 6 foot, there's like this very big height difference.
And Omera will reach out a hand and shake.
I love doing business with the fringes of society. Now, to get you into that academy, I have a plan. Luckily for you, I had to deal with a debtor, in a sense, and was able to get some information for exchange of his loans. Apparently, we have a couple of high-ranking officials coming to the lovely city of ours, and they need an escort to get to the academy. These are officials coming straight from the Empire's capital. Don't know exactly who, but they have hired the Cobalt Legion. They're local mercs that do your standard protection bodyguard work. Luckily, I have a couple of suits lying around which you can take, and you can disguise yourselves as a fumbling mercenary.
Okay. And that will get us into all of the areas that we need to?
Should get you into the academy. In terms of going about the academy yourself, that's going to be on you. Though I have no inclination that it will be a problem for somebody who has originally been a member of this society, if I've been led correctly.
I'm familiar with the layout of the institution, yes. And so we shouldn't have any issues navigating it. It's more so whether or not members of the Cobalt Legion will be allowed to freely roam once inside the academy.
I think they will let you at least have drinks, so should be enough to let you get into the campus. But once you do get to the campus, you're going to be looking for the core. That's going to be in Isabella's office as well. They did kind of retrofit it a little bit. There is a teleporter, and you see they kind of pull something from their back, give you what looks like to be very much like almost like a hole punch kind of card, kind of key of sense. So it kind of goes, this has the punches or codes needed for you to correlate and coordinate the teleporter we have here with the teleporter in Isabella's office. If you set that up, we can go in and take what we need and leave with you as well, and no one will be the wiser till it is too late.
Omera will take the punch card in one hand. And can this be used to connect with any other teleporters as well, or is it strictly this location?
Strictly this location. The codes are modified in a way that they are only allowed to connect to the specific frequency of our teleporters.
What happens in the event of an emergency? Isn't that a bit of a security issue for you? What if somebody finds out and then they end up here and your whole operation is blown?
Well, they would need the card to figure out exactly where it went to. Simply slap that bad boy in, take it quickly out, and run into the portal. We can close it from our side, and they'll never be the wiser.
Okay. Well, thank
Lovely.
you, Tassa, for your discretion.
As always. Now, I will leave you to it.
Thank you. And very quickly, like probably a little too quickly, Omera like gets up and kind of like gestures for Aiden and Azul to follow and exit Tassa's office. And as soon as we are outside of earshot of like any of the workers here, like workers of the blood tier company specifically, Omera is going to like whip around and very urgently like lean in to Aiden and Azul and say, we are not giving them a tentacore.
You see Aiden go, okay, I didn't know we had a liar among us. That would have been nice to know. And I don't think you should be lying to gangsters.
Okay, well, I don't think that gangsters should have tentacores.
You see Azul goes, exactly. You're giving these guys the equivalent of magical warfare at their disposal. Look, you two, I know you're recently defected, and I know that's kind of new to all of you, but this is a rebellion. This is a revolution. We're going to work with people that are kind of icky. Kind of the name of the game here.
No.
Plus...
No, working with people who were kind of icky was working with those cult freaks, okay? This is different.
How is it different? The cult freaks want your head. At least these guys are going to ask about the price first before they even contemplate it.
Okay, but... No, look, okay, no, we're not giving them a tentacore. It's not happening.
Omera... Azul, can you give me and Omera a moment, please? You see Azul looks over to you, just like, you want me to stay? You want me to go?
It's okay. We'll catch up with you.
All right. You see they kind of go downstairs, leaving you and Aiden. Omera, something very important is happening here. All the people you think is weird, the Jaws of Johanna, the Godless, the Pirates, these people here are the last component of something bigger. If I'm able to get these people on our side, we will have enough to formally form a new pact.
Not with these people. Aiden, you have to be discerning about the people that you ally yourself with. Not every enemy of your enemy is a friend.
They are a friend when it comes to the Empire. After we deal with the Empire, it will become a problem. I understand, but that is such a leagues away.
You cannot give them firepower. That makes them harder to deal with afterwards.
It is easier to deal with a bunch of gangsters than fucking divinity. How the hell are we supposed to fight against Doros and Isabella and the whole plethora of a fucking
We don't
pantheon?
need them. We don't.
We don't. So, care to explain to me, how are we going to smuggle our things about? How How are we going to get secrets from people? How are we going to get the gold that is needed without having the Empire breathe down our neck? Oh wait, look! It's a whole fucking company that does that!
I'm sure the rest of the people that you work with can figure it out as well. You don't need them. You want to know how you can fight a god? With divine magic. That's what a Tenacor is. We can take the Tenacor, but we can't give it to them.
And pray tell, what happens when we steal this core, don't give it to them? Whose side do you think they're gonna join?
What happened to you? Were so convinced that they would never side with the Empire.
Well, when you fuck somebody over, that tends to change loyalties now, doesn't it?
You have more people on your side. And believe
More
me,
people doesn't equate to smart people.
Believe me, Isabella is not going to be quick to side with the Blood Tier Company. She hates the guild masters. Always has.
That only bumps them up on my list. If God hates them, good on them.
Aiden, I cannot. I can't. You said that you were doing this to help the people of the Empire, correct? How does subjecting them to an escalation of divine warfare even after the Empire falls, how is that helping? You can have the Tenacor, but they can't.
And you're gonna trust me with divine power.
Don't give me a reason not to.
Okay, so what are we gonna do? Are we just going to, use the suits, follow them whole 9 yards, and at the last minute, how are we gonna escape? You get to tell me? The only way we're gonna get out of Isabella's office without being seen, apparently, is if we use their teleporter. It's kind of a little awkward, don't you think?
And
when we get to that point,
Omera holds up the punch card. We change the codes. I don't know where it'll take us, but we change the codes.
This is insane. This is insane. I told you, turn off the part of your brain, and you didn't. You reversed it. You don't like gods, but you act just like them. You are very much of that tricksy, witsy kind of way. Sure, not the god of tricks or lies, whatever the hell they're missing in their little pantheon.
You know what's insane? Is fighting an empire. So, get with the insanity, okay? We have to get creative.
Fine, fuck it. We didn't need a whole faction to complete our little pact and whatnot. Our little alliance, we can just do it out. UC kind of walks out. We'll do it your way. But I'm telling you, you're gonna regret it. Because when you fuck over crime syndicates, it never goes well.
If your revolution is so precarious that one faction can topple it, then it was never strong to begin with. That is a bigger problem.
God, I hate philosophy majors so much. I hate them so much. You see the walks out. Zulga the armor! He kind of proceeds to walk out. You do notice that as you finish the conversation, Salva on the other side raises a glass towards you. And in this instance here, what is Omera feeling?
A little insane. But Omera is so out of rare depth, but their convictions are strong, and they are trying something that they are not very confident will work, but that they feel very, very resolutely about. So, leaning into the insanity, because we have to.
You only live once, huh? With that, you begin to go through, you begin shifting armor, and the general details of what you get is you are new recruits. They suggest that you don't use your real names, but luckily, the armor you're given is very much a full plate and covering the face. They won't really see anything but skin as identifiers, and to be honest, that doesn't really matter in such a diverse city. They're not going to be able to be like, oh, you seem out of odd for having blue skin kind of energy. So, with that, you are given the coordinates as you head over at this point. It's maybe about afternoon as you find yourself walking through the streets. And eventually, you find this sort of mass group of people, in a sense. You see that they're very much that merc life. You see their various individuals, helmets off to the side. The thing that's distinct about them is they have this sort of cobalt stone blue-like armor. You see it's kind of shining and shimmering all over the place and very much makes them stand out. You see a number of them are currently at what looks like to be kind of like a cafe, being a little bit more rowdy than what you usually see. You see there are a number of people that are more high class trying to enjoy a cup of tea versus the soldiers going, "Hey, barkeep, another!" And you see, this is a cafe, sir, not a bar. And just, whatever it is, just give me one of them chai teas again. That was pretty nice. And at this point, you all following up. You see the individual, seems to be kind of like maybe this half-orcish person. Pink skin, short hair to the side, teeth that kind of go off to the top and kind of go, "Hey, how you doing? Are you the new recruits coming out from, shit, where are you coming from again?"
We were just dispatched from the battlefront in Mali.
Let me see. Alright, shit, you coming from Mali? I heard it was a right fire in there.
Yeah, as a new recruit, I was honestly very surprised that they put us on the front lines over there. I not gonna lie, I didn't really know what I was doing. So hopefully this is a much quieter mission.
Hey, welcome to this. This is where we do fine living. We live like kings here. And you see, it's just like, from all the guys that are on the corner. Hey, take a seat. Name's Pentos. Pleasure to meet you.
It's nice to meet you. My name is Rose.
Hey, pleasure to meet you, Rose. You see Aiden go, Derek. Azul kind of goes, Hannah. Pleasure to meet you all. All right. You want something to drink? It's on the house. Boss gave us a little bit of a drinking tab to get us all ready. Not too much, though. Non-alcoholic. We have to escort some fancy princes and princesses today.
And Omera kind of like looks to like Aiden and Azul, like, is this a good idea? What?
Aiden just like, fucking make chatter, I don't know, fucking
yeah, of course. I mean, if the boss is paying, then why not, right?
Yeah, okay. Hey, give him some chai teas. Okay, you don't. Just give her the fucking teas. And you see, tea for you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Give me some of that fancy bread too.
So, sorry, I must have missed it at briefing or something, but who exactly are we, escorting today?
Oh, who are you escorting, Tartos? You say, sir, we are escorting. So he pulls out the paper. Boss says we are escorting, Ophelia del Aferi, the Emperor's child, and also we are escorting the Emperor's Grand Vizier Titus Lavole. I see. We're escorting these people today. Apparently, it's more formal than anything. We shouldn't really face anything. If anything, it's just a couple of students. They're not gonna do much to us. But, yeah, we're just escorting. Simple. Bring them over the bridge. Bring them back onto the ship. Simple, simple, simple.
And, Omera is conflicted because hearing Ophelia's name is nice because Omera hasn't seen Ophelia in quite some time, but Titus. After what Ray just learned about the potential for Titus to have betrayed them for some reason and have forced this whole series of events to happen to an unknown end, Omera wasn't expecting to come face to face with Titus so quickly. After that, they thought that they would have more time to process all of this, and they're trying very hard to steal their face so that none of that emotion or those thoughts come through as this person is talking away about it all.
Yeah, usually just goes on. Yeah, they're coming from the Emperor's Child, a bunch of pansies. You know what I mean? It's just. But don't worry about that, huh? Good first time on the job. Hey, why don't you take off your helmet there? You look like so stiff. Take off the helmet.
Omera will, I think, like, nervously kind of fiddle with it and say, just first stay on the job, and we'll pull it off for like up for like a second and then pull it back down.
He kind of goes, hey, recruits are always the same. They remind me of my brother.
Your brother, tell us more about him.
Let's just say father was not particularly too proud with the line I chose. Oh, he's a prison warden, you know what it goes.
Oh, who exactly? Sorry, I didn't. Who exactly is your brother?
It don't matter. Yeah, it's just he's on the other side. He's got a very nice tropic heat about him, but doesn't matter too much now. Haven't heard from him in a while, but that's the name of the game, especially prison gangs. So, But either way,
sorry about that.
it's no problem. No problem about it. Easy. Bast always knows how to keep his own. So,
I'm sorry. What was that?
Bast, that's his name.
Like the son of Myson, like the god.
Yeah, not so. Yeah, he's my son Mason. He's so dribble and drown. But sadly, some of us can't be godly. Some of us are just normies.
So you're the son of you're also a child of Myson as well.
Yeah, and you see somebody go, Mason of nothing, he ain't got shit. Yeah. Well, divinity isn't exactly hereditary, or maybe it is, because it's got me, so. Normal as a mortal.
Well, I think we're all better off that way, don't you?
I would love to have a little power, a little psychic or something my father called writing stars. Really would help with publicity, anything. But not for me, the lowly life of a mercenary.
Well, don't give up. And like Omera like very lightly just like punches the person on the upper arm. You could still move up in the ranks or something.
You do notice as he mentions Bass, Aiden immediately is like grabbing a knife and just is thinking about the ways he could puncture this man's jugular.
Stop it.
It's so easy.
Stop it.
Just a quick. He kind of has to control himself at this point. Talking about, you hear, oh shit, commander's coming. All right, everybody puts their helmet on. You see coming through the crowd, a little bit older, more angrier, and with a broken nose. the vestige of one Conrad Kipping. Bully turned into you don't know what. You see he has short black hair. Again, nose is broken as you see that his little rustle and tussle with Titus never really fully healed, which is a bit strange. You have magic, so either they didn't let him or he wanted it to be a reminder. But those red gleaming eyes of that fucking bastard is ever so bright as you see coming about, voice more deeper now, going, "Gentlemen, let's get to it, form up."
And Omera will scramble up and will whisper. I imagine like Azul is like in front of Omera and like Aiden's kind of like behind, as we're in this like formation that we're supposed to be in as soldiers. And Omera will just like lean forward and whisper in Azul's ear, "Is that Conrad?"
It's kind of cute.
No, what?
I know, but he's like, damn.
No, no,
You see,
no.
looking down, he really kicked up. He's a little bit,
And Omera's just gonna like poke Azul in the back, like to just
sorry.
stop it.
Sorry. Yeah, but it's him. He looks like he really buffed out.
Let's hope that he's not still an asshole.
You see. All right, everybody. We are heading to the dock today. How my Cobalt Legion doing today? And you see there's just a real, ah!
Ah.
Wow. Oh, as you see, it follows suit. Oh, you see, that's what I love to hear from my boys, gals, and non-binary pals. As you see going down the line, it is a simple one today. Nothing too hard of the fancy, unless some of us here are going to be taking the fight to the books themselves. But it should be simple today, guys. We escort him to the academy to wait for Isabella's audience, and we escort him back. It's quick, simple, and a shit ton of cash. Plus a little R&R is good for you boys. Going to college. Maybe some of you can pick up a book. Another rough and tuffle. Even though he does sound slightly athenoid, he has loyalty among these men, something which is hard to build. Alright, follow me. 2 and 4 sections on the side, and 3 and 5 on the back. Let's get it. And with that, you begin to get escorted through the city. And I think that is a lovely place to take a quick break. With that, everyone, we hope you're enjoying the show. We're going to take a quick break here, so go use El Baño, grab a snack, and we'll be right back. We'll see you soon. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the second act of this particularly enticing, dangerous episode of Forsaken. With that, let us return back.
Why'd you say dangerous?
With that in mind, we return back. No context, no answer, no comment. As we return back on Omera, you are marching to the beat. You primarily are really focusing on Azul, so Azul's really the only one to experience here, and it's very much like a child trying to mimic their parent. You see that some of the soldiers have like fucking recruit kind of energy. Luckily, that's the lie you kind of went with, so safe and sound. But you find yourself marching up to what looks like to be the main dock part, same when you came in, but you can see that the road is kind of being cleared at the moment with these soldiers pushing people out the way, making a path, as you see a gold and illustrious vestige of this regal airship, which comes into focus, waving the glorious banner of the Emperor's crest, so that feminine figure with angel-like rings raining down and raging in golden fury. Soon, you see taking the lovely hand of the person next to them, Titus opens their hand up to Ophelia. Both of them older. You knew what Titus had looked like, but Ophelia has also grown up ever so slightly. As you see, they are more confident in themselves. They were before, but there is a sense of regalness about them and a confidence that with every stride they take, they understand what they say matters. Unlike what you knew before. No longer a party person, but rather a head of state. Coming up, Conrad, you see, is a little bit timid in nature, approaching Titus. There he goes. Titus! Welcome to the fair city of Lys. My legion is at your command. Titus, and curious at the moment, but still reveling, as you do notice he paid the individual, tosses it up. It is always a pleasure to have such loyal servants of the Empire. Is the carriage ready, Conrad? At your leisure, sir. You see there's a bit of pain. Even though when you see he talks to Titus, he never makes eye contact, always darting away, always looking to the side. Ophelia, care to join me? It would be my pleasure. You see they proceed to come down. Carriage comes about. They both get in, and you all begin to escort. Now, you do see they are having a conversation, so, Omera, what would you like to do in this instance as you are walking towards the academy?
Well, firstly, I was watching Titus and Conrad's interactions with just a very tense body, expecting some sort of eruption to occur between the two of them, given the very obvious power plays that were being exchanged. But once nothing happened, no fight broke out or anything like that, Omera can't help but focus on Titus, and in their mind, they're thinking about all of the possible reasons that Titus could have betrayed Rem and what he's planning, and I think Omera, in whatever formation, whatever line that we have formed as like the Cobalt Legion, is going to try and move a little bit closer to Titus in that formation, like switching spots with somebody basically, in order to try and eavesdrop on whatever conversation that he is having.
We're gonna roll here. You're gonna be tempting fate. You're kind of trying to finesse your way as close as possibly can. So, in terms of what we're gonna be adding here, a skilled ally is lending you a hand. I will say Azul will be helping you, seeing that you kind of want to get closer. Going to use their knowledge of marching. You have no other option. not necessarily true. You have a bunch of options. You're doing this on your own volition. You are far away from any god that wishes you harm. I will say, for the purposes here, even though you are in Isabella's domain, they don't really want to hurt you. I mean, you're their pupil. What kind of professor wants to harm their grad student? It's like, that's kind of fucked up energy. You don't have that at the moment. So you get to add a +2 to this lovely thing.
All right. I got an 8.
An 8. You're getting lucky today.
That +2 was helpful because I would have failed otherwise.
You would have failed. You get through it mostly unscathed, and fate spare you for now. With it, you see almost like a tangle of sorts. Azul takes your hand, very much in a slow motion fashion, as you can see just ever subtly a smile among their face, as they toss you over to the side, marching in the same order. You see the guy kind of get switches out, like, oh, sorry, and he thinks it's his mistake. And with it, you're within earshot of the conversation of the two. Do you listen in?
Yes.
Putting your ear as close as possible without looking suspicious, you see Titus on one side, Ophelia on the other, Ophelia looking longingly out the window. Titus busy writing in a journal of his. The Emperor's concerns over the outbreak of prisoners from Scarlet Bay should not be of true concern. You can tell your mother that we are handling it. And tell them that I believe the acts in Mali were necessary. I believe maybe they are related to each other in some sense. These rebels are powerful mages. They must have erupted some kind of spell in order to destroy the region. You see Ophelia kind of go, these rebels, if they have the power to erupt volcanoes in very important cities, Titus, I'm concerned what else they can do. I assure you, everything is under control, and my experiments will bear fruit for the Emperor. Titus, I do not care for experiments. That is a conversation between you and the Emperor. But these rebels, I heard they took out your aide. Armand was a valuable asset, and he will be very deeply missed. Titus, you seem quite cold. You're the sweet, loving boy that filled his notions with inventions. And you see, he stops writing. Looks over. Cold, unnerving. The boy was thrown from grace for thinking too high. Either here or there, the boy rebuilt himself. Close this book. I will say, the test subjects provided by the Emperor are much appreciated, and while we do not have the prison anymore, I do believe the citizens we've been able to liberate from Mali will accelerate our progress. I believe I can recreate the machine if I can convince Isabella to join the cause, which I will need your help. Their laws of entropy go against what I'm trying to achieve, so I need a little bit of the Emperor's touch, your touch. Titus, I feel you and your section of the Senate are trying things which the Emperor may find enticing, but I am a little bit wiser. If you don't trust me, you can trust the senator from Ali. Yakin is quite honorable, decorated, and did everything he could to fight those harmful rebels. If you don't trust my word, trust his. They killed Omera, so I will. If anything, for their memory. rest their soul. And with that, they kind of just do small talk, quiet things, but the important pieces are done.
Okay, first of all, human experimentation on the people of Mali, what?
What? What was that?
Secondly, did it seem like Titus and Ophelia were being genuine and sincere when they were discussing the volcano in Mali as rebel, as being because of the rebels?
Yeah, it's not kind of any innuendo or anything like that. They generally believe that, well, these rebels have magic and they destroyed, of course, the economic heart, is what Ophelia is believing, and Titus as well.
Okay, just for my benefit as a player, to make sure that I have everything aligned and I'm understanding the weird obfuscation that's happening here, that was a decree that was made by the Empire, right?
That is what was said, yes.
Okay, the way you phrased that. Okay, interesting.
In the events there, it was a decree in the sense of saying the emperor has decreed, yada yada.
Yeah.
So when it was being said, when it was being done, especially the way that the individuals there, that the sort of family that was there said it, came from the emperor. Is what they said.
And Armand was there, right? Armand was
there as well. Yes.
Huh. Okay. Interesting. Noting that in my brain.
Omera will remember that.
Interesting. Okay. So I think those are the two pieces of information that Omera flags as the most important, and then the third, that Yakin has successfully lied to everybody that he killed me. I think despite Yakin's betrayal, it feels like a sense of comfort.
I don't think it's not necessarily that he killed you, but you died. It's in the sense of oh, my sibling died on the front. They still all believe that you died in Stalfin. But your brother is very much of he is upholding, whether it's a lie or play, whatever, he's upholding to that truth of, yes, these rebels used magic and they ruined my home.
Okay. But Yakin knows, right? I know that Yakin knows that that's not true.
Yeah, Yakin was there.
Okay, cool.
Would have at least seen something. You thought Yakin was dead or maybe captured. Seems like he's out and about.
Okay. Neoliberal brother, working for the other side. Okay.
Neoliberals, man.
Without having any way to communicate this information to Azul or Aiden right now, I think Omera's just gonna note it in Rare Mind, and then whenever we get the next chance, is gonna relay all of that to my colleagues. But in the meantime, they will just continue on as they're supposed to, escorting the two dignitaries.
With that, you continue on. You are at a walking pace, maybe a good 10-15 minutes through the city, and with it, electricity soon begins to turn on, filling the streets with a combination of white, blue, purple lights from its lamps, hitting ever so slightly off the cobblestone roads as you head towards the Helix Academy. Memories begin to flood into the mind of Omera as this place has not lost its magical touch. As you see the 4 golden pillars of knowledge that connect into the heart of this glorious campus where many students come and go, and where Isabella resides as headmaster, guardian of the city, aka their workshop. You could think of it as these sort of 4 large spires, and in the center, this kind of this very Seattle-esque kind of, high-rise in the sense that they can see everything going on as it's connected to each of these buildings.
A panopticon.
A panopticon, there we go. Words! We learned something today. With that, the Legion begins to go into the interior of the campus. As you find yourself escorting them off their carriage and into the building itself, as you walk through the 2 refined halls of recreation. This is where a lot of students go to relax. This is not necessarily the tavern, which you used to go to. This seems to be maybe a little bit of a newer place. This is the equivalent of like a student union in a sense, or kind of where the beating heart of where meetings and stuff can go down. And you can see a number of students are relaxing. It has massive libraries, activities to enjoy, from pool, maybe a little ping pong on the side as well. Students are kind of chilling about, doing their thing. And soon, one of the older looking students, maybe a grad student versus among, the freshmen and, sophomores, juniors, and seniors, more of a grad student kind of comes up. You see that they're just kind of like that half elvish in nature, or kind of more white skin. Greets both dignitaries, goes, "Well, it is a pleasure to have you here. Such fine people of the Empire. Isabella is currently dealing with a city crisis. Apparently a union strike is going on within one of the steel foundries. They're currently going over to negotiate or deal with, depending on how the agitators are. But please, we are having a meeting, and the last thing we need is a bunch of armed guards coming in to a personal meeting, so you can leave your soldiers here to muck about." You see Titus go, "Conrad, if you be so kind, your men can stay here. When we are done, I will call you." Right, Titus. Anything for you, sire." "See, Ophelia, you join me? I hope you know the way." "I do." You see the student go, "Please, follow me." And with that, go up. Conrad kind of goes, "All right, boys, R&R. Don't flirt with any of the students. I'm looking at you, Danny." And he goes, "Yeah, you rascal. Just stand by, R&R. I know you drank, but if you still feel you need libations, up for grabs, play a game of pool. Don't really care too much. Enjoy yourselves. We'll be back probably in the hour." See how it goes off, leaving room for you and the others to disperse.
Firstly, I want to say, not Isabella, the union fucking breaker, the strike breaker. No. Why would she do that? Secondly, once the Cobalt Legion disbands and we have some time to ourselves, Omera is going to go to Azul and Aiden. If we were separated, is going to sort of gather them and just going to ask, okay, so some disturbing things that I have learned. I got close enough to overhear the conversation that Titus and Ophelia were having, and things are bad.
How bad? Bad enough that we should follow through with the plan, maybe?
No. But human experimentation bad? Titus seems to be working on some sort of project that Ophelia is concerned about, but the Emperor is apparently not, that requires experimenting on people in order to perfect, and the people of Mali were taken as unwilling participants of that experiment. I don't know what it's for, but it doesn't sound good. And knowing Titus, they tend to take things a little bit too far sometimes.
Well, if it's an experiment, we know one place where that might be cataloged or relayed to.
Yeah. And Aiden. Omera turns to Aiden. They seem to be of the opinion that the rebels are the reason that a volcano erupted in Mali. They think that there are powerful mages amongst the rebel forces, and I mean, I know that's not true, but, well, two things present themselves to me from that. One, that means that the Empire did not... That wasn't a command that came from the Empire. Secondly, maybe the rebels can use that to your advantage. You know, scare the enemy. Don't let them know that there aren't super powerful mages in your ranks, and use that lack of information to your knowledge.
At first, you start off the sentence and he goes, "Oh, please don't say, maybe we should go back." And then after hearing the second part, kind of goes, "That's actually pretty smart idea. Pretty good, actually. Though it does bring concern. Why are they lying about it? I mean, why lie? It makes no sense."
Well, that's the thing, is I don't think Titus and Ophelia were lying. It didn't seem like it. It seemed like they genuinely believed that it was the rebels that made that happen. And so whoever made that command, it didn't come from the top, I don't think. Or if it did, it's being hidden from people who... Well, I mean, Titus is literally the Grand Vizier. And to hide it from your Grand Vizier, it just seems odd to me.
Stuff to think about.
Yeah.
We're running out of time. We should... You know the way to get up?
Yeah, Azul, I think you remember as well, right? So we can...
Yeah, more on you than me. You're the one who would like to skip around the freaking halls.
Right, I forgot that you spent more time outside. Fighting or whatever. And Omera will nod at the two of them and say, "Follow me." And we'll make the way over to the labs in the academy, where presumably the equipment for whatever kinds of experiments that Titus is running would be housed.
Okay. So, quick question. Are you going to Isabella's workshop, or are you going to a section of this place to see where Titus's stuff may be? It's two separate things. Main
Firstly,
mission is Isabella's, but
yeah.
if you want to see what Titus is doing, there's
Firstly, I want to go to wherever Titus's like secret experiments might be, just as like a quick stop to see what's going on, learn a little bit more before we go to Isabella's workshop.
Fantastic. I'll say, since you're going to just there, it's not too, you don't have to roll anything yet. If you are going to Isabella's, you will have to roll. But since you're going off to Titus's at the moment, you kind of go off to the side, following suit. You do see that you're very much following off to the side, being a little bit stealthy-like. As you see, Titus goes, "I forgot something in my room." Goes in, gets it. He seems to have an office here, even though he does not live here. It's very much of like a CEO having a place within his company in case he ever does stay. But you see, goes in, locks door. You come in, not too much, as Aiden just unlocks it. And going through, you can hear sort of the bubbling of various vats, purple liquid, various chemistry sets around this purple liquid, and in the center what looks like to be an individual who has been cut open, and them trying to implant the same shard-like materials in your chest.
Oh, okay, that's bad, because people die when that happens.
He can still live, wait!
Okay. So Amanda's gonna see all of that. Are there shards here right now, like in this lab?
There is. Not as big as yours, but there are.
How many of like how much, like, is it carryable? Like if I put it...
There is like maybe 3 big chunks, and then there's a bunch of shavings.
Okay. Omera is going to see what's going on here, and in like a split second make this very quick decision, and is gonna take all of the big chunks, and then is gonna like find places to hide them in their armor, and if there are not enough for just Omera, they're gonna like give them to like Azul and
you see just you have to give one to one of them, and Ada's like, "What the fuck are you doing right now?"
We can't... You know what happens when You know what happens when these shards or make contact with people? They kill people.
Yeah, that's great, but we're not here for that right now. We're a little sidetracked.
Well, doesn't matter. Come on, let's go.
You see, come on, let's go. You notice that as you go pick up the last piece, a notebook falls on the ground.
Okay, well, I'm gonna. Now I have to look at it. Oh, what's in the notebook? Omera goes and picks it up and opens it to like a page that just opens.
What are you doing? As you just go over to pick up a book. You see, picking at the book, it is very similar. Looks like to be this kind of notebook or journal he was writing in, Titus. And you can see what looks like to be at first mostly schematics of these new kind of weapons in collaboration with the Tennyson Company. But what catches your eye is the notes kind of in the midsection. There seems to be what looks like to be an architectural drawing of a large arcane tower built out of these like hexagonal stalagmites towering. You see what looks like to be inside of it a massive core, like a tin core, like the size of a building in a sense, dug deep into the ground itself. And you see it extending into various cages where there are creatures and mortals in. And in the center, there is an individual siphoning off this energy. And almost like a shadow drawn behind them, something of a more godly nature being made.
This motherfucker wants to use me as a battery. And Omera will take this notebook and also keep it.
Just taking his shit. He's gonna, where's my stuff? He's gonna have a very big ADHD moment of just like, man, I can't lose my stuff everywhere.
This is for us to figure out later. For now, Aiden's right, and we don't have very much time. Come on, we need to go.
At this moment, especially since you got sidetracked here a little bit, you're tempted fate by staying here longer again, kiddo. So
well, we're leaving. We're leaving now.
No, you tempted fate. Fate's like, well, we didn't go to the main mission here.
I'm doing all the side quests first.
Yeah, please, I need the XP. I need the XP in a game where it doesn't work like that. With that, tempt fate again. We are going to. A skilled ally is helping you. You have no other option. I'm gonna leave that up to you. What do you think? You think you have no other option?
No, I mean, I didn't have to be here, so...
Okay. I didn't have to be here. So on that, you're firm for a god. The same thing, a god does not wish you harm at the moment. So a +2 for this again.
I got a 10.
That's overkill. On an overkill, you triumph over this specific ordeal but attract the attention of your enemies. They will react immediately. We'll see that in the back pocket.
How dare you? Why would you do that?
There you are. No, I'm just gonna put this in the chamber.
No. You can just put that down.
No, it's okay. It's okay. With it, you immediately go up the stairs. You've been to Isabella's office multiple times. You know everything, and the hardest part, which would be impossible for anybody else, is their door, which is very much like these Tesla coils that have to be hit at right frequencies in open to open the larger door when it's locked. You have no problem hitting boom, 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 opening the vault door in a sense.
Girl needs to change her password. It's been years.
Bro, they're God. They didn't expect anybody. Like, what student in their right mind would steal from them? Expect the unexpected. But the door itself leads into this oval-like workshop. You can see the glass going about looking off into the various sections of the academy. But what you did not see, and what is hidden from the outside, is that there is a section of this place which is invisible to the outside world. As you see walking in, among their notes and everything, the codes and everything, behind it you see a massive dockyard which is building what looks like to be this silver-like air carrier. It is pristine, powered by lightning, and what makes it unique is that not one of the engines on this thing is fuel in the sense. It seems to be powered by magic, something that is incredibly rare as you see this massive carrier of might and magic. As you're going in, you see Aiden look and he goes, "That's a hell of a secret project."
Transportation. I mean, that's... I don't know why
That's
you
not
would...
transportation, that's a command center in the air, no less. That's power.
Yeah. That's not what we're here for, though. We need to get all of the people out, and we need to find Lieutenant Gore.
Yeah. He steps out of it. Yeah, you see as we go, I'll go get the tentacle. You guys work on the codes.
Of course.
They go off to go get one. You see that you go to this machine that's on the edge, and very much there's a slot to put in a sort of get the codes out. So pretty much you're going to be generating without having to roll anything. You're going to take a little bit of time, but you're generating a new set of codes that you can use into a machine and go, hey, this is new codes for the Empire. Yes.
Can I speed up the process by using the Protean Gauntlet?
Please use a power if you be so kind.
Roll
the power.
I'm gonna mark a strain.
Okay.
And I don't think I'm close to the layer of the god that I got this from.
No. Oh,
Am I?
No. Well, he is. I will say, I'm going to give you this in this specific reason.
Okay.
You took this from Armand, and Armand is a Protean. These are kind of the first automatons in a sense that were able to be infused with souls. And this place, while it was under the guilds, was where the first sets of these bad boys were built. So technically, his power does come from this area, this city.
Okay. In that case, I'll be rolling with a +2.
Roll that bad boy.
No! I got a 12. It would have been bad regardless. Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. Nothing ever matters. Describe how you also drain, terrify, or wreck what's around you. I'll leave that up to you. Or the GM. No, you know what? This is more fun. How do you? I'm going to leave it up to you. The rules are suggestions. How do you mess
You hear
up
that,
in this
Connie?
instance? You still succeed. Yeah, you hear that, Connie? I'm taking the game apart, making it my thing.
So I think what Omera does is they come up to this machine to generate new codes, and not being sure of how long this process normally takes, and knowing that we don't have a lot of time, Omera's thought is that we need to speed it up as much as possible. And they're not familiar with this machine at all. Ray has never seen it or used it before, and Ray has also never used this gauntlet before, having just recently obtained it from Armand. And so Ray pulls up their hand and kind of like puts it next to this machine. So the forearm kind of like lights up, and there are different attachments that kind of start to form and come out of it, almost like a Swiss Army knife. And they kind of take, they kind of just like arbitrarily pick one that they're like, sure, this will work, and then start like sticking it into different like crevices in this machine or whatever. Like, they truly, I think the way that they kind of like wreck this machine is that they are just in the dark, like scrambling for something to work. They don't actually know what they're doing.
You see Aiden goes, hey, wait. And you see you're able to pull out the codes rapid fire as you see the hole where it was being generated immediately catches on fire. In this instance, from our last roll there, what catches you immediately. You see there is a Tesla coil in this room, and immediately it begins to, and you see forming up out of it, Isabella begins to manifest. As you do, body forming up, you see Isabella immediately gets ready to, I do not know who you are, but you have made a great... Omera? As you see, looking at the two of you in the far back, you see their head hiding. You do see Azul does manage to have taken a core, so they are hiding at the moment.
Hello, Isabella. It's been quite some time.
Are you some sort of apparition or ghost? Is this mortal, as you see they point at Aiden, in some way responsible for your undead condition you find yourself in?
Not undead. Very much alive. And actually, this mortal, Aiden, is responsible for that.
You see lightning. You killed Johanna.
I won't lie to you, Isabella. Not. Out of respect for your mentorship and the relationship that we have had in the past. Yes. Yes, I killed Johanna.
You broke the laws of entropy. You cannot kill a godless in Archon. You know the danger you have sent in motion, the message you have sent. The Empire is scrambling from what you have done. The dangers. The irresponsibility.
All due respect, Isabella. Johanna put us in danger first, and she had to be stopped. I did not even realize what it was that I was doing in the moment. All I knew was that I had to stop her.
What gives you the right? You are immortal. What gives you the right, Omera?
You were once mortal too. What gave you the right to become a god?
I earned it, sacrificed for it, bled for it. I understood my place. I understood why this continent needs us. Our cruelty, our guidance.
The continent did not need Johanna devouring thousands of people on a whim. God or no God.
There are things you do not understand about us that you have endangered. Games that are being played. You cannot just kill one of us and leave a hole that can never be filled. A crack in a defense we have been building for 50 years.
Defense against what?
Darkness.
Oblivion is gone. You all made sure of that.
From yourselves. Oblivion only came into this world because of you. Because of mortals.
What are you talking about?
It is a long history. I do not have time to explain. But you must come with me. You are under arrest. You see Aiden go, I don't do arrest.
Isabella, and Omera steps back with the codes in their hand. You have to understand that I can't go with you. And I implore you to turn the other cheek, pretend you didn't see me here today. Treat me like a ghost, an apparition that you saw, and nothing more.
In this instance, you are tempting fate again. So I'll give you two options here. There's two things you can do. You have your shawl with you. Fates are intertwined, even that of gods. You can use that to maybe subdue a little bit more of a forceful nature, if you will. Or you can tempt fate. You can persuade them, in a sense, to go against what they are meant to do. An Archon is meant to defend, not let rebels go. So, more of a persuasion versus more of a forceful. And failures on each do have their own consequences. Fail persuading, they may not go ham on you, but if you try to forcefully do it, they may give it their all.
Again, out of respect for the relationship that Omera and Isabella have, I think they are not going to try to force him into anything, hoping that there is still some of that tenderness, that, that friendliness that can be pulled upon and leveraged for good in this moment. So I'm just gonna tempt fate.
With that, you get a +1, because you're not getting a skilled help from anybody, but a god doesn't want to wish you harm. Isabella, though scared of you, doesn't want to harm you, in a sense. So you get a +1 for this.
Okay. God damn it! No! I got a 4.
With that, you try to back off. The fate laughs in your face, and you hear the echoes again. Thou shalt not know true justice. Yes.
I have a question.
I
have a
think
question.
I know what this is heading for.
yeah, I think you know. I have a question.
Yes.
In order, I think in that moment when Omera realizes that Isabella is not being swayed, and that echo of that curse reverberates in Rare Mind, in that one moment, may I have Omera make the decision to force to violate a curse.
To understand the choice you're about to make, you can violate the terms of a curse and await disaster. Answer 1. What shatters beyond repair? What mutates beyond recognition? What shifts beyond your reach? The GM will answer one other one, describing how the curse surges to claim forth each due. So, understanding what that is and what that means, you will be freed from it. Are you sure? Are you sure? You want to violate a curse.
Yes.
Fantastic. Choose one question for me, please, that you are going to answer, and I will answer the other one.
What mutates beyond recognition is that area of Omera's skin, the weird flesh metal sort of substance that had grown and spread around the shard embedded in Omera's chest, begins to grow further in this moment, almost like it is trying to burst out and push out of them and trying to take over a rare body. I think it starts to snake up, and now it is no longer hidden in the sense like by their shirt, in the sense that it comes up and crawls up their collarbone, up the side of their neck, and like stops, I think, like just below the jaw and below the ear. And I don't know what exactly this flesh metal material is, but whatever causes it to grow, whatever consequences come with that, happen as well.
You do that, and I'll give you a moment here before you answer. You see Isabella powers down for a moment. You see Azul kind of come out. You children will be the death of me. How do you plan to escape?
Firstly, above table, are you going to answer the second question?
I will answer
Okay.
the second question. I will say you will free, but I'm waiting for a moment here.
Okay.
There will be an answer.
I'm just scared.
No. No, fear's good. Fear's good. Don't worry about it.
Omera, still clutching the codes in their hand, will take the codes like that we just got and take the punch card that was given to us as well, and we'll try and slip them to Aiden, who is beside me.
Yep, no problem.
Like without Isabella seeing, ideally.
I will say for the purposes, especially
Okay.
what I'm going to do. Yeah,
Okay.
it's fine.
Okay. And Omera will say, I will leave because you will allow me to. Because I think, Isabella, if I know you, if I have ever known you, then I know that you do not agree with what Titus is doing.
He is doing something very dangerous.
I don't exactly understand the full extent of it, but that much I can see. Yes. And innocent people do not deserve to be slaughtered just for this weapon? I don't know. That they are trying to make. What is it?
It is ascension.
Making archons?
More like repeating history.
But that's not... That can't be possible.
You see, they put a hand on your shoulder. Omera, there's something I have to... What?
What?
Shatters beyond repair.
Bro, what?
You see, as they put their hand on you, they cough blood that goes right onto your face. As you look down, you see a piece of shard, similar to yours, impales them in the chest. Their energy dissipates slowly, like how you usually do, before coming out of the other direction towards the person who threw it. As you see Titus waving around this crystal as it sort of flows around him ever so softly. Traitors, we do not accept that. You see Isabella.
Isabella!
All of their magic dissipates, and the purple individual made of lightning slowly turns into just a mortal.
Isabella.
Human. Brown-eyed, old. I'm sorry. My pupil.
Omera has caught Isabella in their arms, and I think is quickly trying to use their magic to heal or close up, seal the wound in Isabella's chest where the crystal had been, to try and... Well, Omera can't save Isabella's divinity, but maybe they could save their life.
You try using your magic and something stopping you from doing it. You keep trying to exuberate your energy and just something is blocking it, like a door or security, something you can control and you can't heal.
What is, and Omera will look up with Isabella still in Rare arms at Titus. What did you do?
I took care of a traitor. And you took something that doesn't belong to you. As they point towards the shard in your chest. That was supposed to be mine, Omera. As always, you find a way to fuck things up.
What are you talking about? What is wrong with you?
Nothing wrong with me. I'm of clearer mind than you. I've developed vision. I didn't want you to be there and stuff, but of course, Azul, you can see behind you scowling. Had to bring you into it. You were supposed to be in Scarlet Bay, but for some reason, like a child who can't sit still, you had to make a big show of it. You don't understand, there's grander things at play here. Something your boyfriend and girlfriend here don't understand.
You're just power hungry? Is that it? You just...
You think this is about power? No. This is about the divine game that they play. The monopoly they own on this power, as you see Isabella's breath dissipate.
And what right do you have to play this game? To play with other people's lives like this?
Don't you know? You see they form Isabella's lightning in their hands. I'm the god killer. I take what is owed, and I am owed so much in this life. Their stupid laws of entropy. I work for a greater purpose. My purpose. My pantheon.
And Isabella is gently put onto the ground by Omera. And they get up, their long, messy hair falling in front of them. And Omera is shaking a little bit from the shock of it all, from the grief that hasn't quite set into their bones just yet. And looking up at Titus. You are nothing but a fraud. God killer. That's what you want to be. Well, you're in luck. Because you're standing in front of a god right now.
Please, you see, opens his arms out, turns off the lightning. Take your best shot at me. Hit me with all that might.
And Omera will quickly look at Azul, who I assume is like behind Titus, and will, without saying anything, but just with like a slight tilt of the head, Omera will gesture for Azul to leave, to escape. And similarly, with a flick of their hand to Aiden behind them as well. They'll gesture for Aiden to do the same.
Two of them immediately go off, leaving the room just for you, Titus, and your recently deceased mentor.
Why? Why do you want all of this in the first place? Why play the games of the gods?
Because it is what I'm owed. I spent years on the ground groveling, bending to their every will, and they cast me aside like I was fucking trash. I would have killed Isabella earlier, but I didn't have the means or the power, but I gained it. When I was cast out, I found secrets. The Emperor, I enticed them with these secrets. Mailed in my way in. Time, I am a patient man, and patience begets reward. This empire could be something beautiful and bountiful, but it is held down by these pitiful people, as he points over to Isabella. My pantheon will reign supreme. We will conquer this continent. We will take the rest. And when darkness comes, it will be crushed under my might, and I will be a hero for the ages. I will be glorious. So glorious.
All this time, I thought you were my friend. I defended you years ago, thinking that you were just misunderstood, not given a chance. But this, Titus, this proves that you're nothing but a loser. And you always have been. And Omera I will wield a power, if I may, to bring forth all of the tattoos on Omera's skin. The visible parts of it start to shift. The leaves and the different flora start to come together and start to form feathers as the tattoos change into crows.
Fantastic. You're gonna get a plus. Oh, well, you got a +1. Are you gonna mark another strain for this bad boy?
Yeah, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna mark a
Alright.
strain. Ah.
+2. +2.
Okay, +2. Please, please, please.
Okay, I got a 9. Okay, we're okay. We're okay.
9. Okay. Now, my question here: are you just providing yourself cover, or are you gonna go in to attack him as you see they coming off your flesh, going to attack?
So what happens is that these crows emanate and burst out of Omera's skin, almost like they were trapped inside of them. And Omera's eyes, I think, go a pitch black, entirely covered. All sclera, no pupils or irises in sight. And these crows kind of like form out, and they come out in this like silhouette of like a larger crow behind Omera. These large wings, almost as if Omera themselves was the crow, is the Archon of death itself, come to claim its rightful quarry in this moment. And after that moment, the crows all at once seize upon Titus and attack him.
With that stupid, I see you stole something from the stone. I'm surprised you made it that far.
And Omera, their voice becoming very even and steady in a way that it has not been in the past. They walk towards Titus and slowly they allow their crows to continue to attack them. You have always underestimated me. That's the problem. Everybody always underestimates death. They think they can outrun it longer than they can. They think that it will not come for them, not today. They always say, not today. But that's the thing about death. When it's your time, death will find you. There is nowhere you can go and nothing you can do to escape it.
How close do you get to Titus?
I don't like you asking that question. Oh,
What is the,
I'm gonna say like a person's like 5-6 feet distance, like close to Titus, but not like up in his face.
Yeah, you get close and he goes, restorated you. As you see, he uses his stone. All your crows disappear. You keep talking about being the god of death. I think you have it backwards, kid. I'm the god of death.
Omera laughs, and as they laugh, I would like okay.
Every time with you. Hey, okay.
Okay. Omera laughs. And as they laugh, I would like to manifest a miracle. I will sacrifice the Protean Gauntlet in order to do this. The Protean Gauntlet is a feat of ingenuity, of engineering. It is tech in and of itself. And I think, sort of channeling that energy, the gauntlet on Omera's forearm dissipates almost. Like it falls off of their arm, like it is nothing anymore. And as it falls to the ground, that energy reverberates in this room and reverberates into Titus's body and into his very being. And the miracle that I would like to manifest, if I can, is that I want to absorb all of the divine energy of the Protean Gauntlet, any remnant of that powerful magic that was inside of it, and I would like to direct and channel all of that energy into the stone, into the shard that is in Titus's hand. And I want to charge it to like turning the dial up to 11, basically, so that it is brimming and teeming and spilling and exploding with divine energy to an absurd degree, hoping that Titus's being, soul, body, whatever it is that determines the capacity to hold a vessel, is unable to hold on to a divine nuclear bomb, basically.
You toss it, goes into crystal. Don't you fucking dare.
And with a step forward towards Titus, Omera will say, "This one's for Isabella." And they will direct that energy outwards, out of the crystal, into an explosion.
Tossing it in there. You see, it explodes slow motion. As you see the shards explode with this energy and impale into Titus's chest. You see, he uses his other hand to control the explosion. But as he does, you feel that pain in your chest again. So much so, it feels like a heart attack as you go onto the ground. Holding this energy so much so that he's using it to keep himself powered, but also to contain the explosion. You having your heart beating out of your chest, you can see, before you focus on yourself, the conditions you have created are exactly similar to your own. divine energy explosion mixed with the crystal, impaling him in the chest. You see his eyes begin to glow purple as the skin that you have on yours begins to just grow rapidly around him. As you hear his voice change into something echoey and metallic. What's wrong? Feeling a bit under the weather?
And Omera is distracted by this searing pain in their chest. I think they like fall to the ground, their hands trying to steady themselves, and Ray looks up at this monster. It's that meme of like, I took a calculated risk and boy was I bad at math kind of feeling roiling through Omera in this moment as they look up at Titus and then look behind him to the carrier. And I think Omera makes a very quick decision in this moment that this is too big to deal with right now. That this is something that they will need help for. They cannot do this alone. And I think Omera musters as much of the remaining energy that Ray has as Ray can, and will run towards that cruiser that Isabella was building. Try to scramble inside.
As you do, you're kind of like crawling, walking out. Titus cannot go after you due to the fact that he has to focus all his energy and might into this spear of nuclear kind of energy that you forced onto him. But you hear him screaming, "See, the thing about being a god killer is that one mortal is not meant to be a god. Have you done much killing these days?" As you continue walking, crawling over. Don't kill an Archon, you can't stave off the infection.
And
You see, the thing about the stone, and as he's kind of mid-sentence, what are you thinking here?
just running towards carrier, trying to get inside, trying to like we're like, bro, you're monologuing, I'm out. Like, I don't know what you're...
You do notice Aiden did not leave. Aiden was very much on the side. He kind of gets on you, grabs. Sorry, I just couldn't leave you, and kind of takes you, escorting you onto this carrier. The stone has a weird tendency that I found. Connects with the nerves. Becomes one with it. And if not fed, turns off those nerves. Slowly but surely, as you get in, you see he gets into, this carrier is supposed to have a multiple crew, but you see Aiden is doing his best to like one man this thing as he lays you on the side. No matter how many you kill, it won't be enough to save you. You're dying. Think of it like a cancer. May not be today, may not be tomorrow, but you will die an early death, and when you do, I will laugh over your grave and watch the god of death die. As the ship pulls apart, and in that instant you flash back. You remember being in Mali with Tava. There were two purple strings, one belonging to Aiden. But you also saw another one, long, getting shorter, and shorter, and it clicks. That was your life. And it is slowly deteriorating. And that is where we shall end our episode for
Bro, I thought I couldn't see my own fate. What do you mean?
Kills you, kills you, kills you, kills you, kills you.
With that, everyone, as you can see, it is another wonderful episode of Forsaken. With that in mind, we're gonna go in reverse order. This is just normal for me at this point. It doesn't end like this. I've done wrong. They get a gun pointed at me at every session. With that, in reverse order, I'm not God Killer. If you have any plugs, this is the time to put them sweet, sweet plugs.
I'm dead is what's happening. Can somebody give me life? Can audience members please life? A little bit of life. Shit, okay. I guess I don't have very much time left, so let me use that time wisely. My name is Omera. I use any and all pronouns, and I am a TTRPG performer and producer. You can find me all over the social medias at Lilith TTRPG. I don't think I'm dying in other stuff, so I don't know. Who knows? Maybe I am. I don't know. Go listen and watch my other stuff and find out if I'm dying over there too. I'm just gonna pass it back over to Chris, who is very mean to me.
What? Why? With that, everyone, I'm the not mean person, Chris, who has been your humble guide for these foreseeing evenings. With that in mind, you can follow me at VO_Colon, that's COLON, on Twitter while it is still alive. In terms of what I got going on, besides Forsaken, on Tuesdays over on Badhouse RPG, I am the storyteller for Embers of Rage and All Latin A, Werewolf the Apocalypse AP over there. It's getting good. We're getting to the end of the Mexico arc, so if you want to check that out, because it's going to get spicy. In terms of the drama, last episode was a hoot, and the next one is going to be outrageous. But with that in mind, we hope you had a wonderful time with us, and we can't wait to see you next week on an all-new episode of Forsaken. Until then, everyone, have a lovely night.